Hello, I'm Michaela and this is my first book haul of 2019, and the first book that I've got to show you is Why Mommy Drinks by Jill Sims, and I've already read this and it was absolutely hysterical. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and this book is the year of the life of a 39-year-old mummy who doesn't want to be 40. She doesn't want to be one of those mummies who does Pilates or has a polite book club, and it's honestly one of the funniest things that I've read all year, and I do plan to read the rest of the series, and I think this one's the first in the series. For the most part it is fictional, but there will be some kind of real life stories in there and things like that, which I think makes it a little bit more authentic. And my favourite part of this that sticks in my head is where she takes her son to a cafe for cake and a cup of tea, and he decides to gloat to his sister, and she gets jealous of this and she isn't impressed at all, and in response she decides to be mean and tell him that he's adopted, which of course he absolutely isn't, and his mother has to try and tell him that of course he's not, and she's face palming her own face and she's like, you know what, fuck life. But honestly it's brilliant and I can't recommend it highly enough. The next book is The Taking of Annie Thorne by C.J. Tudor, and I think I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads. I have read her first book, Chalkman, which I thought was amazing, and this one was near close to that in how good it was. And in this book, a young girl called Annie Thorne goes missing for a short time, and when she returns home she's not the same, and her older brother goes back years later after moving away to find out why all of the things that happened did happen. And it's interesting because it goes between the childhood and present day and putting 2 and 2 together for different things, and it's always interesting. You always want to keep turning the page, and that makes it of course a good thriller if you want to do that. And when you're reading it you can't take your mind off it at all, you're always thinking about it, you always want to keep reading, and I can recommend this one very highly. The next book that I have is another thriller, and that is Die Trying by Lee Child, and in this one Jack Reacher gets abducted alongside an FBI agent who at the time is injured and can't really get herself out of the situation with a bad leg. It's a recent buy, so I have to include it in the haul, of course. And I look forward to reading the next book. The next book is another Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, and that is Tripwire, which I have bought on the day that I'm filming this video. And in this one he is being hunted down by a private detective and someone dies, and during the process he has to try and figure out who the person is that's looking for him and why they've killed this other person. And I look forward to this because I have been enjoying the Jack Reacher stuff for the past few months and I can't wait to read it. I also have a book called Viral by Mike Jeavons, and I don't know too much about the book, but I do watch his videos online and he has been plugging this for months and months. And I bought it just because it was on offer on Amazon for £1 on the UK Amazon, and I think it was cheap to start with anyways if you do want to check that out. The Language of Kindness, a Nurse's Story by Kirsty Watson, and I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads. I really enjoyed this. There was some quite heartbreaking stories on this which nearly made me cry a few times, and on the reviews online other people have said pretty much the same. It is heartbreaking, some of the stories, and you wonder how nurses often cope with the stress and the workload. I also have an audiobook by Sheila Newbury called The Nursemaid's Secret, and I think this one is more of a Christmassy one, and I'm going to leave that till the autumn or Christmas time just to kind of be in that kind of festive mood for it. I literally know nothing about it. I also have a Bella Forest book which is part of the Shaded Vampire series, and that is A Piece of Scythe, I think it's pronounced, and this is book 74, and I look forward to this. I always look forward to reading them. They're very quick and easy reads, so could easily read 4 of them a month. Add to reading that, like the things that I haven't read so far, and I hope to find out if you've got any of these books and what you think of them, or if you're reading something new right now, what do you think of the books you're reading. Hope you comment down below, and thanks for watching.